welcome to Mod Pod with Fukunaga, a podcast that celebrates the strength and pulse of the luxury market. And now, here's your host, Vanessa Fukunaga.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mod Pod with Fukunaga.
Yes, yes.
And today's special guest star is Modu from Moduvated. Now, I know Modu isn't your full name. Help all of us understand what your full name is and say it properly with the proper accent.
So first, thank you for having me.
Welcome.
It's an honor to share this platform with you.
Thank you.
I feel very honored. So to answer your question, yes, my name is written in French. So it's M-O-D-O-U, Modu. So when I moved to the US, people had hard time because English speaking, they don't pronounce O-U. They will say, what's your name, Modu? I'm like, okay, let me just drop the O. Since then, everyone will say Modu. That's how it started.
Yes. Interesting.
Yes.
And your full name, like
so,
all names.
And my last name is, I don't have no middle name, it's just Modu Seye, super easy.
Is that traditional?
No, Modu actually do not have a middle name yet. In Senegal, where I came from, specifically, you don't see middle name that much.
No.
No, not at all.
Interesting.
And when I came now, Mexico, you gotta have two middle names.
Two middle names, a couple of last names.
Exactly. I'm like, both parents' last name. I'm like, man, this is.
And you mentioned you were born in Senegal.
I was born in Senegal in West Africa, yes.
Wow. Yeah. And look where we are today. We're sitting here in La Boutica, by the way, of course, the sponsor of Mod Pod with Fukunaga, in Las Ventanas, here in Los Cabos, Mexico.
I know, beautiful spot, man.
I don't even know where to start. Your journey from Senegal, let's start there. Let's start with you growing up. Tell me a little bit about your childhood, because we've talked before and we trained together.
Yeah.
He trains me, poor guy.
No, it's always fun. You know what I mean? That's me thanking you for that, because just as much I'm training you, give me business ideas, you need to do this, she push me to be better, I'm pushing her to give me more physically, but mentally and stuff, business-wise, she's the one. But going back to your question, I grew up in West Africa. I'm in one of the roughest, areas in Dakar. Dakar is a capital. Where back in the days, even if you tell people you're from there, people go look at you like want to run away.
Really?
It's a very, tough neighborhood, and lucky though, me growing up, since my father passed away the same day when I was born. So my dad passed away. 3 hours later, I was born.
Wow.
So they gave me his name.
Wow.
And me, I don't know, at a young age, I'm starting just like my mom, man. I'm looking up my mom, and that paved my way to anything I do. Start at a young age, my boys will be doing drugs or doing any bad things, man. But I can do it. Can do it, man. I can do this to my mom. I cannot help her financially. At least I can give a peace in mind.
That's nice.
And by doing that, now I look back, I'm like, I was super, comfortable with who I am. And as you talk about as a leader, if you don't know, you cannot be a leader, because I used to be different, taking my own path and still comfortable. Everyone will go left. I'm like, I can do this, even though, and they will used to make fun of me. You're scared, because you cannot handle it. I'm like, whatever, man. But my mom, and that leads to, when I was about 15, 16, one of my aunts used to watch me, just doing the right thing, staying in school. She said, man, she told my mom, we need to take her to the US, He always doing the right thing, he's in school, basketball. And at that time, Vanessa, man, I'm like praying, God, if you get me out of here, I will not ask you anything again in life. I will do the rest, And before you know it, man, one day, my aunt decided to, bring me to the US, and man, I'm like, it's over, man. You have done what you were supposed to do. Now it's up to me to make things happen. That's how it started.
That's interesting, and you feel like that's made you a little bit of what you are today, the determination?
Big time. My mom, till today, you know what I mean? I never done a lot of stuff because I'm always thinking about, man. And I have older brothers, and sisters, but me being the youngest, I had a different path. And some people ask me, but why you were so at that young age, you know, already wise to think like you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't do drugs, because I'm like, God sometimes does things for a reason. What should have been my, I should have been the one, you know, blaming my circumstances. Oh, I don't have a father, I grew up in a very poor neighborhood, this is this, but I'm like, no, I'm turning this as my motivation. You know, if I want to be, you know, the one who's gonna, if I get out of this situation to want to be someone, it's gonna be on me. You know, and just for my mom, and to be able to go back home and to show people, you know, stop blaming, you know, your circumstances, you know what I mean, your skin color, your this, you know, in life, it's what you made out of it.
I totally agree. Completely agree. And when you went to the U.S., so did you have an idea about fitness when you went to the U.S., or that's what you were going to do?
So, you know, growing up in Africa, they don't tell you a lot. So I always love sport, playing basketball. So I came to the U.S. First, I was supposed to stay with my aunt. I got to New Jersey, she told me, welcome to America, but you're not going to stay here. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's how people
Oh my God, welcome to America.
Exactly. I'm like, man, I wasn't expecting this, you know? I'm like, man, and my mom, the funny thing, was like my first cousin of my mom. So my mom told her that I was coming, I don't have no place to live. So if she could, you know, help me out for the next 6 months, then she didn't do it. So my mom was like, you know, was very upset, but me also, I'm always thinking like, man, this is okay, man. You know, I already prayed to be here. Now I have to be also ready to handle anything, any challenges, any, you know, things I might face that's not gonna make me stronger. So I called one of my friends from Nebraska, childhood friend. He came to the US through University of Nebraska. I'm like, man, you know, I need a place to go. I'm like, because I was supposed to stay with my aunt. She told me I cannot get out of here. And before that even, and the day I got to the US, 3 days later, I found my own job. By looking, I don't speak English, but I go to a car wash. The guy said, can you wash car? I'm like, whatever you want me to do.
Wow.
So I was determined already to like, man,
work.
So I washing car, I'm working from 7 in the morning to 7 p.m., making $130 per week. With a tip, every day we'll share the tip about $6. Me, the week I was with my aunt, every time I get up from work, and that's how I was raised back home, I bring some fruit to share with her, you know, but it wasn't enough. I think she still kicked me out. but I gotta say, that was those are the things, man, that's made me today who I am. So I took the Greyhound, someone helped me get the ticket. Funny thing, when she gave me the ticket, tell me that's your bus, the Greyhound. So I went straight to the Greyhound, sit in the back. All of a sudden, I see this big guy come yelling at me, blah, blah, blah. I look in the back, I'm like, no English. He thought I was trying to sneak in the bus.
Oh my gosh.
He told me, you have a ticket? I pull out my ticket. I'm like, yeah, you know? So then 27 hours, I got to Nebraska. I have never seen snow.
Nebraska.
No winter clothes, you know what I mean? And just got there. Also, I'm working every single morning, like, about like, you know what I mean? 5 to 10 miles, try to find a job in the winter.
My gosh.
Everywhere I see now hiring, the little I know, of course you don't speak English, you don't have no papers, you don't have anything, you think like, but I had faith that, you know, someone was gonna give me a chance.
My gosh.
Yes.
Nebraska, 27-hour Greyhound ride.
Yes, yep.
My gosh, that's perseverance.
Yeah, but you know, and then before you know it, I got my first job. You know, I keep going to Wendy's. Man,
Why Wendy's? I'm so just curious.
But it was just, I think it was one of the many I was going every single day. I wasn't going to give up. So I would fill out an application. So I would go the same route everywhere that was now hiring. I'm like, unless they take up this sign, I'm not going to stop going there.
Oh my gosh.
And Wendy's had that now hiring. So 3 months, I keep going. I'm like, why you don't hire? Until today, you know, that's just show also when you do something and the daughter of the manager say, you gotta be kidding me. I've been seeing you coming here for 3 months. My dad hasn't hired you? No, I'm gonna talk to my dad. Come on Sunday, you're gonna start. Just bring some black pants. I went, find me some black pants. They gave me some black pants that was like size 42. My waist is like 30. I made it work, punch it, put the apron on, and show up. But I gotta say, man, that was one of the happiest moments in my life.
Proud.
Because just where I was back then. I just wanted a chance.
Yeah.
I'm working, I will buy a loaf of bread, Every day I could only eat 2.
Oh my gosh.
To go through it.
Wow. What a story. That's perseverance.
It gets me emotional sometimes talking about it.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing where you've come from and what you've had to overcome. And people don't realize, like we've talked about it, you see the cream, right? The cherries on the top, and they have no idea what you've been through to.
And man, but that day, man, I was so happy to finally have someone give me a chance. I washed those dishes. I remember they told me, since I'm always 6'4", the manager told me, move all of the racks that's like in the parking lot. I'm moving them. Right before the last one of them fall on my finger. I didn't worry about my finger. I'm like, I don't want him to see it. Because if he see it, he's gonna tell me a day off, and I don't want a day off right now.
Oh my God.
Seriously, I went, my coworkers see me, I'm like, please don't tell this to Dell. Because if he see it, knowing the procedure in the US, they could have said, I'm like, please help me out. I cannot afford to not work, man.
Oh my gosh.
No, I went, asked my friend some money, get a bandage, the next day I come with the gloves, continue working. I remember going, we're not used to, coming from Africa, we're not used to making hamburgers and stuff. I remember saying like number 1, number 2, number 3. I'm like, man, this is confusing. This one has bacon, this one has no bacon. I will go at night, study number 1, with what? This one, the patty, tomatoes, salad, this. Because I was like, man, I cannot afford it. I gotta master this, man, because I don't want to make any mistake to get fired.
Oh my God.
So from that, I'm going, I'm working, and keep going to like another burger joint. I'm like, I don't know what happened with the burger joint.
I don't know what with the burger joints either.
So I'm going to Fukunaga, and the lady, the assistant manager, said, man, you don't give up, do you? I'm like, no. He said, you know what, we're gonna give you a chance. I'm like, and I'm like, I have a job actually at Wendy's. He said, but how long you been working there? I'm like, 3 weeks. He said, but how are you going? I'm like, no, I want to handle both jobs. Can you hire me? I will work there in the morning and start. So I will work there at Wendy's from 7 to 3. Go in the dining room, eat about half an hour, then go to Fukunaga. And I will work there from like 4 to 11 p.m.
Oh my goodness.
I did for 1.5 years without one full day off. Because even if I have a day off here one day, I won't have to work at the other place. Save money, pay for my English classes, get accepted at the University of Nebraska.
Wow. Wow.
5 years later, I went back home with my undergrad in computer science.
And your mom?
However, what my mom, she was super proud, but man, she gave me also one of the best lessons in life.
Which is?
When I was struggling, didn't have a job, couldn't sleep, saving like my slide of breads, you know what I mean? I called her, I'm like, Mom, 1 month later, I'm like, Mom, I know why they come and hire me, because I don't speak English. Will you send me $1,000, so I can pay for my English classes? She told me, you figure it out. I'm not sending you nothing. I have tears in my eyes, I'm like, man, Mom, why she's not getting? She's the only person, If she cannot do that, who else I can count on? So that was like, then this is here. And that's why when I had the job at Wendy at Fukunaga, I'm like, man, I know nobody gonna help me. If my mom, the only person I know, is not willing to send me money, man, I better be ready. To whatever in life I'm gonna get, it will have to be up on me.
Yes.
And 5 years ago, when I went also with my college degrees, what I mean, she said, I'm proud of you. I'm like, Mom, this is you, man.
Oh,
you taught me the best lesson. That day when you told me no, you taught me when you have sense of urgency in life, you know, and to not depend on people. You got to do whatever it takes. Search, if you give me the money, I would probably, but wouldn't I work 2 jobs, you know what I mean? Go 1 year and a half without day off, you know, working like 90 hours at the same time taking courses? No. But when I knew that I wanted to do, I wanted something so bad. I wanted education at the same time. I know no one gonna help me pay for it. So I don't have any other choice for me to do whatever it takes.
That's incredible. And so you took these English lessons. Was it hard?
It was hard, you know, it was hard, but not that bad also. You know what I mean? Because being in Nebraska, you don't have any other.
Nebraska. It still cracks me up when I hear you say that you're in
all
Nebraska.
the places, but to be honest, actually, man, but even being in Nebraska, to be honest, that was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Yeah.
For school-wise.
Yeah.
You know, if I was in New York, a big city and stuff, there's so much distraction. But being in Nebraska, what do? You know what I mean? School. You know what I mean? Flat land. You don't have much to do. Eat hamburgers, steaks. That's it. You know. So I was like, actually, this is what I need. You know what I mean? And it's close enough for you to kind of navigate to like one job to the next job, walking distance. So it was great.
So, but what do you consider at that time when you say walking distance? That's still far.
It was about, you know, I would say like one job to our next job, it was about like 4 miles because those are 2 burger joints.
And you're walking.
And believe me, man, and we try to have, at one point, you know, me and my roommate now, we're about to like, okay, let's get now a 1-bedroom apartment because we were living in the room. Now let's, you know, we save money. The first day, it's funny. So we go to the kitchen. We don't have bed yet, but we like, let's get a dining table. Okay. So we went to Nebraska Furniture. We bought the dining table. I asked them how much to take it to our place. They say $150. I'm like, what? $150? I'm like, okay. So I'm like, where do we get this table with the 4 chairs? They say in the back where the trucks are parking. So
you did not.
I swear to God. So I came. I didn't even call because I know my friend. If I would have told him, he would. For me, I'm like, this is too expensive. I'm not. I'm working too hard to spend $150. And where they gonna take the dining table to our house, which is like half an hour drive. I told the guys. I came in there. They said, okay, can you bring your truck here? I'm like, I don't have a truck. Put it on my head. I swear to God.
No
swear to God.
way.
I walk. I literally walk from here to Cabo San Lucas with the table, 4 chairs. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God!
I came. My roommate Abdul say, okay, wow, they delivered it. I'm like, they didn't deliver it.
You brought it.
I brought it. He said, Modu, go to the army. I think you should need to go to the army, really. I'm like, I wasn't gonna pay the $150. You know what I mean? So, but all of that's what makes, you know what I mean? That was an amazing journey. You know what I mean? Just knowing that everything was like taking time.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, and we haven't even, I feel like, touched the
we could go
tip
all
of
day.
the iceberg with your stories. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, let's get, since we're in La Boutica, let's take a little moment. Do we have Macero? ¿Tienes una bebida? Por favor. So they like to make special drinks for us.
Nice.
And I'm going to see what, I always like to guess what's in there because I feel like we need to have a little,
Yes. Wow.
a little treat before our next story. Oh, this is pretty. Muy
Love the
bonita,
color.
gracias. Okay.
Thank you.
¿Qué es?
¿Qué es?
Butterfly PT.
Uh-huh.
Butterfly PT
Uh-huh.
is piña,
Uh-huh.
pineapple,
Piña. Uh-huh.
lime juice, and cinnamon syrup.
Okay.
Nice.
Alcohol free.
Alcohol free.
Cheers.
Salud. Salud.
Salute. And people sometimes, this is what I see.
That's good.
No, Modu, I saw you drinking one day. So
We're drinking.
you can have
tea.
exactly. It's, you know, it doesn't have to have alcohol to be good. This is amazing.
I agree.
Wow.
This is good. And curious, why no alcohol? Is it
You know,
you or is it cultural?
yes, I was, you know, first of all, I was raised Muslim. You know, but I'm not even religious. But again, I have a very addictive personality. When I try something, I like it.
That's it.
That's it. And it's scary, you know. I eat the same thing, same oatmeal, green tea. You see how I drink it every single day.
Yes.
It's just insane. And knowing myself at a young age, you know what I mean, and knowing that these are the things that could distract where I want to be. I'm like, if you don't know it, you won't miss it.
True.
You know, so I rather just, and I respect the people who do it at the moderate. I respect them, but me, I know myself.
Right.
You know, I like it, man. I'm like, you know what? Let me just stay away from it.
Did you feel like you were different growing up than everybody else? Like growing up, I knew that I didn't mind being Fukunaga in Utah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Who's a Fukunaga in Utah?
Exactly.
And I knew that I was destined for different things. I didn't know what it would be, but I just felt different than my surroundings at the time. When you grew up, did you feel like you were going to be, and bigger is not the right word, but have a different path maybe than the traditional paths that you would see your friends and your family go through?
One thing I was, you know, I was always been the glow since I was young. I could take two friends, you know, a group of friends who couldn't hang out together. But when I'm there, I could control the pace.
Oh yes, I've seen it. When you come around, it's the boom and the high fives and Modu's here, and you know these people I don't know. Hi, how you doing? I'm Modu. Hello. Yes.
But it's just I always been that. And it's just like I never.
The mayor of Cabo.
That's what people say. Yeah. And I, you know, and with that, you know, always come responsibilities. You know, and I was even when we were young, like 13, when we organized a party. They say, who's gonna keep the money? Let's give it to Modu, you know?
Interesting.
And with that, I'm like, why they trust me? But also, I know that because I'm always like making sure I was that guy. If you touch my friend, I'm the nicest guy, but I got my back of my crew.
I'm his crew.
Exactly.
We've talked about, you know, when we're training, I love, we also get to talk.
Exactly.
But, you know, about different pivotal points in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely had major ones.
and
So have you.
Exactly.
I thought I had major ones.
And that's what
You
I always,
really-
I ask you this, you know, I don't wanna, I never look at what's the cream on the top. I wanna know what was your pivotal moment. Because for me, I know any successful person have those moments. And that's what defines you. That's what makes you who you are. And if you cannot deal with adversity, there's no way you're gonna make it. You know?
It's true.
It's because you're gonna face us. You know, as you're growing, unless you're satisfied, you're like, okay, I'm done. But if you think like, okay, there's a next chapter, this is the next chapter.
Yeah.
Every chapter you will deal with adversity, and if you cannot deal with this one, then how are you gonna expect to deal with the next one? Because it's gonna be bigger, you know, and more challenging. And that's how, for me, I love asking, being around people like you, because it helped me, you know what I mean, to kind of like not only to inspire me in a way that, man, I'm not at their level, but man, I want to get there. You know what I mean? And it's
You
all
are.
No, not at your level.
No, we argue, but
you're
no.
at another level. You're at another level. And, yeah.
No, but I think, you know, I always tell you, you're really inspirational because all of the business ideas that you have also surround your past.
Yes. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And also, but planning kids' futures.
Yes.
I mean, you just took a trip back to Africa.
Yes.
When was it? 2 months ago?
I don't know, about a month ago. Just came back.
And tell us, I already know, but let's tell the audience just one of the other things that you did when you were there.
No, it was, you know, Africa, you know, I mean, I call Cabo home, but you know, Africa is just, again, every time I go there, I'm like, man.
Do you feel home? What does it feel?
You know, I feel home, you know, there's just something, you know, different.
Yeah.
I don't know how to, but it's just, and sometimes when I'm there, because just people, you know, how, definitely it's not like Cabo, because here you got the luxury, but here, once I understand the people, how they react to things, you know, how they act, so I'm prepared mentally. But definitely there's some stuff that about to piss you up. You go to the bank, people are dragging their feet. You know, it seems like actually they pay you, they give you money. You know, one thing to the next. But one thing, it's beautiful, man, about Africa. It's like almost the Mexican culture. They don't have much, but man, they have the biggest smile. Literally, like someone doesn't even know if he's gonna eat breakfast tomorrow, but he's like, you know, God is great. So I'm like, what do you mean God is great? Go get a job. You talk about God is great. You know, but that's how they, you know what I mean? And true, you know, if they don't have it, for me, if I wouldn't eat without seeing someone. I'd rather say, let's share it.
Oh my gosh.
It's unbelievable. You go to any house around like lunchtime, you don't even know them. You get in there, they like, hey, come eat. And Corey, my friend Corey, that was one thing that blew his mind. Because one day we were going at this island, and he was looking for something and turned at this location. They told him, no, come eat. And he jumped in, you know how Corey. It's like, man, you never seen this, but that's how it is, you know. And now, you know, talk about the business aspect of it. You know, me who is now seeing the world, living in the US, you know, in Mexico. I go there, my friend keep telling me, man, you gotta, they see what I do online. They say, you gotta open gyms, man. Look at what you're doing, it's so cool. And I go there, one thing I learned in business, you look at things, you observe. A problem, you provide a solution, you know. And when they were talking about this was not in my plan, never. So I'm looking at Africa, going to the gym, you know, 50%, 60% of the cardio equipment doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
No, you know,
Oh my gosh.
out of service. I'm like, man, what's going on here? One gym to the next, And I told my friend, you know what? I took my childhood friend and said, I have a project. He said, what? They said, I think we should start supplying gym equipment. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, man. What I'm seeing right now, they need gym, someone to supply them gym equipment. They say, no, the gym, you can make so much money. You know, again, they have that long, short-term vision.
Right.
Me, I'm like, no. I'm telling you, let's feed the mass. You know? And before we know it, I'm like, I'm gonna open a showroom. You know what I mean? I'm gonna send containers of equipment. You know, I'm gonna bring some people to train some technician, because why this machine shouldn't be 6% or 56% of each, you know, cardio equipment broken. That means they don't even have service. You know, so what do? I'm like, I'm gonna bring some people, get me some young people, because they're fresh. If you get adult people, you try to teach them something, a lot of drama. So I get this young kid, you know what I mean, fresh out of school, you know, tell them you want to be part of this. You know what I mean? This is a long-term vision. If you want to be part of it, we'll take care of it. If we have to take you to Mexico, US to do more training, we'll do it. But I want you to bear with me.
Unbelievable.
Before you know it, we opened the showroom. Since then, we've been doing fabulous.
That's great.
You know what I mean? We now designing gyms, setting up gym for the army.
For the army, people. For the army.
Of Senegal.
My gosh.
You should see the gyms there. I wish sometimes you should have something where we show people the pictures. You know, what the army of Senegal. I mean, if they were fighting with anybody, I will just have them do squats, you know. I think by 10 sets you beat them already. I mean, they don't have anything, you know. So us, you know, and we're gonna change the whole, you know, perspective, and so how gyms are done.
And why is, I know it's because what you're doing today, but why and when did health become so important to you?
To me, no, because playing basketball, you know, it was one, and when I came to the US, first thing, you know, growing up in Africa, there's no like, oh, can you pick this or that?
You get this.
One options. That's it. And I think I shared what happened when I was on 6th grade. When I was on 6th grade, my teacher broke my arm.
Oh my gosh.
Broke my arm with a bamboo. And what do? If I go home, tell them that I got beaten in school, I would get whooped again.
Because you did something wrong.
Yeah, wrong. So I was hiding it. I could lose my arms.
Oh my God.
So I was hiding it, you know. So when I came to the US, and that's true, you learn to, no matter what, to
Persevere.
So when I came to the US, it was like, what can I do to make money? To send money home, to help my mom.
Okay.
That was number one. So I was good in math. So they say, if you do computer, at that time computer was booming, that's early 2000. They say, if you do computers,
You're set.
you're set.
Yeah.
And that's true, I was set. But then I'm learning in the US, actually, you could clean shoes. If you're passionate, you're gonna make a lot of money. When I first went to the fitness field, when I went to 24 hours, I took like 1/6 of pay cut.
Oh my God. From the computer world.
From the computer world.
Isn't
And
that-
I had a great job in California. You know.
Isn't that funny? People wouldn't expect that you and I have computer backgrounds.
background, exactly. But man, and
So you just-
my family was going crazy, think like something is wrong with me. Why he has an office? Because they take pride of my
course.
brother, my son is in the US, he had a great job in California, but never they ask you, are you happy? Is this what make you happy? So I was like, no more. I learned that here, there's options. But that was also one of the best decisions I ever made, man.
So you quit your job and you went to 24-hour
Fitness.
fitness. I used to belong to 24-hour fitness. It's so funny. I can't even
Exactly.
believe you. So you went there and did what? You were a trainer?
So they told me I couldn't train, so I quit my job, you know. Went from there, went to NASM, National Academy of Sport Medicine, buy all my books.
Of course, because you don't ever do anything
Exactly.
besides a 24-hour, 27-hour bus ride.
So all of and went to my roommate. I'm changing field. What? My roommate said, how are you gonna pay rent? So I went to him, but they say you cannot train. And yet.
Oh, because you weren't certified.
Or, I'm like, okay, but can you let me just be around people, smiling and stuff, being Modu.
Oh my God. Modu,
Exactly.
hello.
So and the way and what I did, it works. So I'm like, okay, you cannot catch two birds at the same time. So right now, all I want to be on the floor to network. Because once I got my certification,
Brilliant.
I'm gonna get everything wrapped. And before you know it, 2 months later I got my certification. 4 months later, booked out. My boss was like, you want to train with him? He doesn't have no space.
Oh my gosh.
You know, 5th month I was a trainer of the month, selling more personal training than anybody, selling more supplement than anybody,
Wow.
and doing more session than anybody. Because I'm like, man, now it's me against my family and everyone who said I was crazy. Even though I had to work 3 times harder than anybody on the team because I was making $7. They put me, my hourly was $7 and I would make 20% of the private session, 20%.
20%.
But I was doing 12 sessions, 14 sessions per day. People will literally, someone like you will tell me, go home, you don't have a life.
I always tell you to go home.
Exactly. I'm like, you don't know. I'm like, right now, I got to prove some people wrong, man. I got to make this happen. And that's how.
And then what was your next step from there?
No, it's funny, you know, and when you do something like this, look at what happened. So my client, this client called me. Say, I heard great things about you as a trainer. I want to come train with you, 1 session. Someone like you. You know what I mean? Like, very, like, know what he wants, know, okay, you know what, I'm not committing, but I'm going to try 1 session. First to know what I'm getting into.
See how you are.
So he came, I trained him. He left, didn't say anything, pay me that session, left. Few hours later, he called me. How much if I wanted to train 6 days a week? I'm like, this is the price. He said, okay, deal. Can we start tomorrow? Yes. Train him, get him in amazing shape. 6 months later, he flew to tell me, I'm going to Mexico. I'm like, okay. Whatever, when you come back, I'm going. So he was seeing me working so hard. So one day I got a phone call from him saying, man, I think I bought some businesses in Mexico. Still I didn't bother, you know what I mean? Where?
Okay.
He's like, will you mind coming train me for 1 month? I'm like, you crazy? I'm not coming. You saw how busy I am in LA. And I was like, I'm like, if you want, I can come for 1 week, train you, write your program, and go back to LA. He said, yeah. I'm like, he said, okay, let me get the ticket, get everything set. I'm like, by the way, so I'm talking to another client, say, I might go to Mexico. She say, where? I'm like, actually, you're right. Let me ask you where.
Where in Mexico?
Where in Mexico. So I call him. He say, actually, it's Cabo. So I'm like, that's Cabo. Didn't know anything. Literally, 12 years ago, I didn't know anything about Cabo.
Oh my God.
Never heard of Cabo. So he flew me. I came, trained him for 1 week, go back, train him for 1 week.
Where were you? Curious. Where did you stay?
He put me at me.
Okay.
So I'm at me, so he like, that's like you, come, tell me, get situated, I will come at 5 to get you before we go train. So at 5, I'm waiting, I didn't hear from him, Man, this beautiful place. First of all, that was the most beautiful place I have ever stayed. So I'm waiting, 6, 7, I fell back to sleep. So around 9, my room ring, I'm like, okay. They say, hey, your friend wants to talk to you. I'm like, he say, the first question here, I will never forget, how you feel. I'm like, I thought we was training at 5, sorry, I fell back, I waited for you. He said, how you feel? I'm like, honestly, I've never felt this way, man, in my life, man.
Oh my gosh.
He said, I know how hard you work in LA. That's why, get ready, I'm gonna come pick you up. I want you to chill. I want to come. I will come pick you up we go to dinner. Tomorrow we'll start training. The rest was story. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, that was the guy who can, and after, tell me, what I mean? His partner say, how can we get him here for 6 months? He said he won't do it. I know how busy he is. So then he made me an offer. I'm like, let me go for 6 months, save the money, go back to LA. 12 years now, I'm
oh my gosh.
It's a lot of, and we were just in Mexico City with him actually. Actually, he was also the first one to see the logo.
I'm all about the branding.
The branding.
I'm all about the branding.
So I don't know much, what I mean, about
yes,
branding.
You do.
No, but at the beginning I didn't, so when I had it, so I was training him. When the guy sent it to me, I'm like, hey, Barrett, I have a logo. I think if I ever have my own gym, I have a logo and a name. And I swear to God, and I will have you listen to this message later. We were walking down the stairs. When he heard Moduvated, see the logo, man, he said, man, you got something. That's how he looked at me in the eyes.
Oh my gosh.
He said, you got something, and I'm gonna help you to do whatever to get you to the next level. If I have to open your gym, so be it. But the fact that, and things didn't work out in his life the way he wants, but the fact that he told me that he was willing to do that, man, like they say, if someone have 5 and give you 1 or give you 2, and someone who have 100 and give you 5, value the guy who have 5 and give you 2, because that means if he would have had the 1,000, he will give you exactly. And that's how I feel about this guy, man.
That is amazing. Did you tell him thank you? Sometimes it's fun to look back.
Always. I always give him like, he went to Africa. I took him to Africa like last year.
That's right.
And for him sitting with my mom, man, I got this picture.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, man, these two, man, I had that picture sitting, and I told my mom, man, everything what Barrett has done for me. But he changed my life in a big way.
Yeah, but you also made it happen.
Yeah,
I think that people can tee it up, but if you don't knock it out of the park or you don't have it in you.
Like you're saying, but the thing is, like, you have to be ready. Because if I wasn't working that hard in 24 hours and being that person who like, since I'm broke, and that's what I'm trying to tell my trainers, always stay humble.
Always.
And don't take your foot off the gas. Keep pushing it.
Don't you feel like we're doubling down right now? After COVID, because you again faced
it was tough
challenge with closing gyms. And you
it was woo. COVID was like what we went through this past year. I was like, I made some decision and said, God, you gotta help me out.
So we have Moduvated. How many Moduvateds do we have around the world, I should say?
Around the world. Actually, the brand, to be honest, the brand looks bigger than what it is.
No.
No. It is. But you know how I built the brand, actually? I built it based on social media.
It's true, but it works.
But it works, definitely. And of course, the community. I love, you know what I mean, being part of the community. Say something, and I don't care if we're not making money, but you gotta, whatever you say, you gotta do it, and do it right. And that's one thing, you know what I mean? And for me to sit down, I've known you for a while, you know. By the way, very intimidated, you know what I mean? I'm like, Vanessa, before when we had to have a meeting, you see me how I'm talking to her, I'm like, okay, because just I don't have the experience you have. That's true. I always tell her, you know, you have it, you know, you have the presence, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
You're done noise in, you know, leading the #1 real estate company, you know, it's intimidating, you know. I'm not afraid to say that, you know. I'm just a kid from Africa who I don't even sometimes, I'm like, how did I get here?
I'm just a girl from Ogden.
but it's good, you know, because by being like people like you, I mean that, and you like inviting me, this is like you like, man, you know, you have what it takes, Modu.
Yes, you
Keep
do.
going, you know. And,
Yes,
and
you
it's,
do.
It's encouraging.
By the way, I've invented Modu on the go.
And that's true. That's
Against
true.
your will.
She always, every session, she has a new idea for
I do.
Modu.
I'm like, hold
why
on,
you not doing
I can't
this?
do one more squat, but I have another idea.
That's why I tell people, it's all about who you surround yourself.
I figure we should end this. I have a question for you because of the Olympics, but I figure we would have a little treat and see what you thought of it.
Okay.
Because a little birdie told me, Mesero, por favor.
Oh, hey. Oh.
Now, there are 3. Do you like it? Do you know what it is?
Of course, with the
Do you like
Senegalese
it?
flag. Oh, that's special.
Do you like it?
Man.
And red velvet,
Wow, man.
I'm told, is your
You got-
favorite.
can you have my phone? Because I really, this needs to, I mean, guys, take the shot. Can I move this on the
Yes, you
side
can
so
move whatever
people
you
can
want.
really
Of course.
see this, man? You see, I tell people, it's okay to eat this. It's okay to indulge. But what we do, you worked out. That's it. Life's about balance.
I agree. This is why, that's funny that you said that, because my whole setup was, you can have the cake, the red velvet, you just don't have to have a whole cake.
Exactly.
We can split a cupcake.
Exactly. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Here, I'll give you the honors.
Thank you.
It's interesting that you know, we're having this red velvet cake, and you talked about discipline, because it's not a bad thing to indulge in a little
No.
something, but you don't necessarily have to have
Everything.
everything.
And also, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Aha.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. If you make it a sprint, what happens? You get super tired, you have to stop. But when you make it a marathon, they say, you know, I'm going to take my time. You know, you eat, you drink, you sleep, you worked out. That's it. You know, it's give and take. That's what I tell my client. I never feel like, wow, man, why? When they say, wow, yesterday I was out, I drink, I'm like, that's why you're here. To enjoy those things.
Yes.
You know, I will be maybe like, no, don't do it. That's mean if you do that, indulging and never work out. You know? But when you have the balance, the ride is more fun.
What would you like to leave our audience with if you had to give a piece of advice? Because, you know, we've talked a lot about business and not even really even about exercising. It's been mostly about the mental aspect of it. What kind of advice would you leave with the audience today?
So for me, it's like, the only advice I have is in life, you gotta be able to deal with adversity, man. And embrace it. Embrace it, this at work. And nowadays you see people, they are very, you know, demanding and think like, you know, everything needs to be given by Vanessa, you know. The boss needs to, oh, give me a job, or she'll give me this, you know. And even if I was me working for her, I want to hear where I need to improve, not what I'm doing good. You know, and that's something, if you want to grow in life, you know, anything that's easy, there's a catch. Leave it there and say, you know what? Because the hard road will always lead you to greater things, because you're learning in the process, mentally, physically, to go to the next level. It was fun sharing this platform with you.
Thank you so much. Moduvated. Check him out online. What's your Insta handle?
You can just hashtag make Cabo fit again.
Aha! Make Cabo fit again. I
That's
love
it.
it. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Mod Pod with Fukunaga. Follow the episodes on all major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and many more.